Hey guys, welcome back to ProAm-Garage. Today we're going to be doing some more stuff on this FD, intercooler piping, mounting radiator and intercooler and stuff like that. Maybe some downpipe. So I'll give you a brief run through of what I did last night. Before I went home, I decided to weld up the compressor housing 90-degree turn. And I also welded up the blow-off valve onto the pipe. And I swaged the ends of these because these are going to go on the intercooler. There's going to be a joiner, etc, etc. So I still need to trim off that, forgot about that. Yeah, so once that's done I can move on to doing the downpipe, but first things first, I need to mount this intercooler so it doesn't move around because currently she can move. So I might just jump onto that first thing now, get it done so that way we don't have to worry about it later and we don't have to worry about things moving, etc. So yeah, that shouldn't take me too long, it's just a couple of brackets top and bottom. So see you soon. So this car has a few bits that were done or installed or whatever that we never did. So this is how it turned up essentially, and one of them being the intercooler, which is damaged. So yeah, I could just go and make a bracket for it even though it's bent, but I want to try and straighten it, but there's only going to be so much I can do. I'll show you why. Here's the driver's side, right hand side, comes across. Now look at the top of the radiator, you can see it's not straight at all. And then here it's definitely bent. So what I'm going to do is I've got my slide hammer out and I'm going to attempt to straighten it a little bit. I just hate fitting bent parts, but this is what it is. We don't get the choice to do everything the way that we want to do them all the time, so we just have to make things work. Not everyone has a huge budget to rectify all these problems. So we're using what is there, we'll make it solid. It won't look $1 million, but it is what it is. So anyway, this is how you do it. Million times better. Yeah, I think that's enough. So if you look at it now, she's a lot straighter. Like I said, it's never going to be 100%, but at least for a few seconds of straightening, you can see the fins have popped back up again as well. Now I can't do anything about that unless I weld something to it. The whole thing's actually, it is quite wavy. Yeah, there's no point in me trying to repair the whole thing because it'll just take me forever, but it still looks better than what was there. So I'm going to probably leave it at that and just carry on because yeah, I'm not going to spend too much time on it. But anyway, just goes to show, if you've got the right tools, a few seconds of you know, what was that, 30 seconds of me on the a few seconds on the slide hammer and we're pretty much good to go. So yeah, I've got to stop saying I keep saying so I'm just going to get back into this. So yeah, watch me. Let's go. Hey guys, so after playing around with this for about an hour, I've decided to forego what was already done. I couldn't get the fuse box to sit in there with the setup that it had, so as frustrating as it is, I'm going to have to move the intercooler forward a little bit and the radiator back a little bit because there's clearance issues on this bar here. So the only way to do that is to move everything around and get everything sitting right, which means yes, I have to redo the intercooler piping and stuff a little bit, so that will change marginally, but it also means that I can properly centralize the intercooler on the radiator side of things. So now I didn't realize at the time that the radiator wasn't even mounted. The only thing that was really actually holding it in place was this radiator hose. So by doing it this way, I can mount everything correctly and there won't be any sort of major fitment issues and stuff like that. So yes, I've sort of gone backwards a little bit, but it's all part and parcel. So anyway, I'm going to go down to the fab room and get everything started up over there. Obviously this can stay the same. The intercooler is actually not moving too much further forward. It's just basically, I think it was about 5 mils it was hitting, 5 millimeters was hitting this. So and then obviously the new bracket wants to sit there. But what we're going to do is just go around it, shape it so that we can have all this factory stuff in place. So I don't really want to start cutting the loom out and extending things if I don't have to, so this is really the best solution for that. I do have to extend the radiator fan wiring, but that's pretty normal with this application, so I think I can buy a kit for that. Normally the way that we do it, we don't have to, we can just sort of, you know, pull the wires and they will fit, but this is too different to make it work. So anyway, yeah, so I'll take you down to the fabrication room, show what I'm doing. So here we are down in the fabrication room, and in my hand I have some MDF wood. So what we're going to use this for is a spacer. I need about 10 millimeters for the radiator to come back. So the plan here, what I'm going to do is, as you can see, I've already got one piece of wood in there to space it. We're going to release this bolt here. The radiator is going to sit on the intercooler, and then I'm going to trim back these mounts so that the radiator can sit further down. I'll reposition this bolt and everything, but first off I need to make it so this cooler sits flat, because obviously if I try and do it now, everything's going to slide onto the floor and things are going to break. So I will go and get something for this intercooler to sit on, and then I can put this up under here. Everything can sit on itself and we can start positioning everything. So I'll get that done now and I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so here we have it. I've got a couple of rotor housings just lying around that I've decided to use for a spacer. So now everything's sitting off. I can, if I put this in a position you can see, move that there, and you can see what I'm doing. Hopefully the camera won't fall over like it normally does. There we go. Okay, so we want to sit you up under here. Under there, so we'll put the intercooler. Sit. Oh, she's close. She's close. So I want to sit some of this on this side. Now, wood is really good to use for these types of things because it's light and it won't typically damage, you know, because it's soft, it won't damage what you're working with. And it's easy to modify. So for the likes of this, I take that bracket off too. For this, for example, I had to cut them to make them fit, so pretty easy really. Just trim it and off you go. 12. Okay, so that's that one. See how that just sat down there? Alright, so I'll show you what I'm doing here. that's got a little bit of a clearancing issue. Doesn't really matter with this application because we were going to weld to the cooler, so not so important. One thing we need to make sure is that everything's going to be square. So what I'm going to do is I will reposition this cooler, or this radiator setup ever so slightly this way over there, just so I've got better clearance here. So in the case this radiator decides to give up, that we've actually got something we can just chuck straight back in like a factory fitment, so everything will go back as per normal. So without further ado, so I'm gonna take about 10 millimeters off here, and then I'll try to rebolt everything up and see if that fits. Now, I got a funny feeling I'm going to have to cut these off, which I've just welded up before. It's not a big deal. I can reposition this in the car on the radiator and everything and just make it all work. We have to modify these anyway, so it's not really much of a major. Yeah, just is what it is. That's what happens with this type of work. Alright, so I'll cut that real quick. I managed to get this where I want it, and I'm just going to tack it in place so that I can weld it fully. So hopefully everything holds together the way I want it to. We still have to modify these arms, but I need to get this positioned correctly before I go too much further. So after some lunch and parts arriving, my silicon joiners are here. I've had a bit of a play around with the intercooler positioning, and I have to redo the hoses obviously. So because the intercooler has moved considerably, we're going to have to do two things. First of all, I'm going to have to make a new bracket for here for that to bolt onto. I've got an idea, and there as well. And the intercooler piping here, the angle that I need this to be on is considerably shorter. So if you look at, that's where the original position was going to be, and then I have to shorten it up. So that means I'll have to cut it probably down to about where my thumb is. What else is there? Same for this side here. I just went to mock up here, and obviously that is considerably shorter as well. So that's not the end of the world, because what I can do is just get cut off basically parts of this pipe here, shorten it down, and everything will be happy. So yeah, providing everything goes smoothly, this should be done pretty quickly. The radiator hoses, that's going to be pretty simple. The next thing up on the list is the fan wires. I have to extend these or get some sort of mounting kit for them and get that done. So yeah, not much left to go, just got to get it done really. So I'm going to jump onto that now.